Unfiltered, Episode 7, No Bullshit. This is your weekly dose of raw, unfiltered me. The Patriot Pulse, Bro Bash, and Slab Lab. Real takes straight from my mouth. Buckle up, because Episode 7 starts right now. Let's kick things off with the Patriot Pulse, and let's talk about something that really hits home and something that was really sad this past week, okay? On November 26, 2025, a cold-blooded ambush took place in Washington, D.C.'s Farragut West Metro Station. And that's exactly what it was, a cold-blooded ambush, okay? U.S. Army Specialist Sarah Beckstrom, only 20 years old from West Virginia, was murdered point blank and fatally shot in the head. U.S. Air Force Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf, only 24 years old, a husband and a father, is still alive, but is fighting for his life in the hospital after taking multiple shots to the head. The shooter, you ask? Ramallah Lakhanwal, a 29-year-old Afghan asylee and former CIA contractor. Now, Lakhanwal drove over 40 hours from Washington State to Washington, D.C. and screamed Allah Akbar as he emptied a .357 Magnum into two American troops in uniform. 10 to 15 shots were fired. Guardsmen returned some of their own. They wounded Lakhanwal, and he is in custody and is pleading not guilty. We have one dead guardsman and one clinging to life, all because we handed asylum to a guy who hated America the entire fucking time. The vetting process failed, and the blood is on the hands of every politician who fast-tracked these humanitarian parolees. This was a targeted execution of uniformed troops in the nation's capital. Call it what it is: terrorism. This is why more National Guardsmen are on their way to Washington, D.C., and why more will come to other cities in the future. Beckstrom gave her life, and Wolf is still fighting for his because they were serving our nation over a holiday weekend. Now, Donald Trump has paused resettlement from a number of countries, and I expect that number to grow over the coming weeks and months. Speaking of Thanksgiving, I'm done fucking tiptoeing. Thanksgiving and Christmas are under full-on cultural assault, and I'm here to tell the woke mob to shove their guilt trip up their fucking ass. This is your wake-up call. Thanksgiving and Christmas have been under attack. I'm here to sell you the greatest comeback story in American history. This isn't just turkey and presents. This is cultural warfare. Okay? Thanksgiving is not Genocide Day. It's a feast of survival. It's pilgrims on their knees thanking God that they didn't starve. It's the Wampanoag joining the table because alliance beat annihilation. In fact, 90% of native tribes still celebrate Thanksgiving to this day. The ones whining the loudest usually have a PhD and make $400,000 a year. Thanksgiving is the original fuck you to starvation. The pilgrims were half dead. The Native Americans brought the food. Everybody ate and everybody lived. That's the deal. Not genocide. Survival and gratitude. Anybody calling it Colonizer Day can kiss my fucking red, white, and blue ass. You want to feel guilty on Thanksgiving? Cool. Send your plate to Venezuela then. I'm eating 3 helpings and thanking God that I was born in the greatest country on earth. Christmas? No. Say it with your chest. Merry fucking Christmas. Not happy holidays, not season's greetings, not that weak-ass corporate diarrhea that you're forced to vomit. Jesus Christ was born. That's the holiday. If that triggers you, good. Trigger harder. This isn't about inclusion. It's about erasure. They want Jesus out of Christmas and gratitude out of Thanksgiving. because strong families and faith make people harder to control. Every time you say Merry Christmas, you're dropping a cultural nuke on the woke mob. Do it loud, do it often, and watch them melt like the snowflakes that they are. Starbucks with your red cups and no snowflakes. Target's holiday trees. Corporate America bending the knee to 3% of complainers while 70% of the country says Merry Christmas without an apology. Grow a spine or start losing money, okay? I want you to put the nativity scene on your lawn like a fucking billboard. Put up a 15-foot Santa and reindeers that look fucking cute. Deck the roof and deck the fucking lights. Then we can start to talk. Because they want you ashamed of your holidays. Because ashamed people are easy to control. Proud people, they're unbreakable. Your kids, meanwhile, are being taught to hate Thanksgiving and whisper happy holidays. Your job is to teach them to smash plates of food and scream Merry Christmas like their freedom depends on it. Because in fact it does. Kids today get trauma days off for Thanksgiving because of genocide. Meanwhile, my great-grandfather fought the Nazis so they could have the freedom to be offended by my fucking pumpkin pie. This year, it's time to go on the full offensive. Extra lights, extra loud carols, extra Merry Christmases to every cashier, Uber driver, and stranger on the street. Make it impossible for the culture killers to not hear you. And here's the deal. Thanksgiving and Christmas are the last two middle fingers we still have left in the culture war. You either celebrate them like a champion, or you let the communists win by default. There is no fucking middle ground. So eat like a savage this year. Decorate like a fucking psychopath. Say Merry Christmas like you're daring somebody to stop you. Because when they come for our holidays, they're coming for everything. Celebrate it like your culture depends on it, because it does. In this segment's Bro Bash, we're going to talk about something a little bit different to start, okay? And let's get into a really big hypocrisy going on in hip hop right now, where Tekashi 6ix9ine is getting crucified for snitching and has been for a while now, while half the industry is quietly doing the exact same thing. Now, here are some of the facts. 6ix9ine, or Daniel Hernandez, testified against the 9 Trey Bloods in 2019 and got 2 years instead of 47. He's been called a rat for the past 6 years, and his career's been absolutely fucking nuked. Meanwhile, you have a bit of a double standard. You have Gunna, who walked out of the YSL RICO in 2022 after taking an Alford plea and is still headlining tours. You have Casanova, who flipped on his own gang in 2023. His sentence was cut in half, and nobody bat an eyelash. You have Pooh Shiesty, Fujiano, Rallo. They all took deals and named names, and they still get free my dog posts. Meanwhile, 6ix9ine gets death threats for the same shit everybody else does behind closed doors. My opinion is that the streets don't really hate snitching, okay? The streets hate loud snitching. If you're quiet, get a plea deal, drop a mixtape from a halfway house, you're all good. Do it on camera in a rainbow wig, you're cooked. The no snitching code only applies when you lose. You win the case by staying silent, you're a legend, okay? You lose and stay silent, you get 47 years. You win by talking, you're a rat forever. Meanwhile, half these quote-unquote real rappers are federal witnesses wearing ankle monitors underneath their Balenciagas. They just happen to hire better lawyers and keep it out of TMZ. And 6ix9ine's real crime, it wasn't snitching. It was being a fucking cornball who made the streets look soft. If he was a stone cold killer with a monotone voice, they would have forgiven this dude in a week. But the code is dead. Everybody snitches when 47 years is on the line. Stop pretending. 6ix9ine just did it with the camera on and the lights look brightest. On to something we know a little bit more about. Let's talk about the NFL. We've got 5 leagues left in the season, and divisional races have started to heat up. Nobody thought that the Broncos, Patriots, and Jaguars would be winning their divisions at this point in the season. And it's safe to say that I was wrong a few weeks back when I predicted a Chiefs-Lions Super Bowl. It's clear Kansas City doesn't have the weapons it used to, and Detroit is not the preseason favorite that we all thought they were. It will be Philadelphia versus Buffalo come February. Josh Allen is too good not to take advantage of this young group of teams that's laying ahead of him in the AFC. And without the boogeyman Patrick Mahomes standing in the way, he has a clear table in front of him to run to get the Bills back to the Super Bowl for the first time since the 90s. The Eagles and Rams are clearly the two best teams in the NFC. The biggest difference between them is that we all know that Philadelphia can run the football and control the clock in the playoffs when they have to. McVay and Stafford want to throw the ball all over the field, which is fine. But can this Rams team run the football when they need to, when the other team knows they're going to run the football come postseason time? That's the biggest question. I know Philadelphia can do it at a high level. I don't know if the Rams can. Only time will tell. Speaking of Philadelphia, their quarterback Jalen Hurts is a part of our next segment, the Slab Lab, where we're going to compare him to Justin Herbert and their card prices. Now, Justin Herbert is, my opinion, the best value buy right now. His PSA 10 Silver Prism just sold for $800, which is up from $650 2 years ago. His Optic Hollow PSA 10 just sold for $180, down from $240 2 years ago. In my opinion, the best buy you can get. Jalen Hurts already has a Super Bowl in mind. Remember that. His 2020 PSA 10 Silver Prism last sold for $475, down from $700 2 years ago. And his 2020 PSA 10 Optic Hollow just sold for $160, down from $230 2 years ago. It's very clear that Hurts' cards are trending downwards, even with the Eagles being a Super Bowl favorite and having just won a Super Bowl last year. His cards are still on the decline. Herbert's, however, still have room to go up. His silver PSA 10 Prism has gone up, and his Optic Hollow is the best buy around. He's also a better quarterback. Herbert's arm compared to Hurts's is generational. Okay, I'm not saying it's better than Mahomes's, but it's a lot better than Jalen Hurts's. Herbert rips 70-yard bombs on a fucking rope. He makes off-platform lasers. He's got touch for days. And while Hurts does have a cannon, Herbert's is a fucking howitzer with fucking pinpoint GPS attached to it, okay? Herbert's internal clock and his pre-snap reads are already top 5. And Hurts is still late on hot routes and stares down the same receiver over and over again. Herbert's also in a way more pass-friendly offense, whereas the Eagles run the football and run the football. Now, Jalen Hurts was the flavor of the month because they just won a Super Bowl and their window's wide open. However, Herbert's the better quarterback. Herbert is still wide open in his prime, with both players being just the same age at 27. Herbert still has room to grow, whereas the NFL has already figured out Jalen Hurts. And it looks like the card market has figured out Jalen Hurts as well. Sell your Hurts cards, reinvest in Herbert, and thank me later. That's the end of episode 7. Smash the subscribe button, hit the like button, drop a follow, tell your moms, tell your aunties. Philly's here. Love y'all.